Hello, everyone. I'm Michele. I'm here today with Ben to talk about the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. Hi, Ben. Thank you for being with us today. Can you
Hi,
tell us
Michele.
a bit about you and what you do and your job?
So my name's Ben. I'm an Agile coach. I've been working with agility for around 15 years. And for most of the last 10 years of that time, I've been an independent Agile coach. So I've been going into businesses, helping them to deliver awesome products while adapting to the ever-changing and fast-changing world around them. That's a mix of working with teams, leaders and managers on helping find a useful, helpful way in their context.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, welcome, Ben. So today we're going to talk about the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. And the first question I wanted to ask you is, how did you use the wheel?
So I first came across the wheel in 2018, and I've used it differently over the years. Firstly, for myself as a third-party coach for a lot of that period of time. When I go to an organization, I have to make sure that I'm demonstrating some of the best of the skills and best of the competencies that an Agile coach should be able to deal with. And the wheel has been really helpful to help me build awareness around what I should really be caring about, and helping me to assess where I feel that I am against some of those competencies, as well as set a path for myself for development over the coming months or years. It's been really, really good for that. I've also used it in organizations within some of the Agile communities I've been part of, and to kind of do the same thing, really, set an idea of what Agile coaching really is, what are all those areas and things that we should be thinking about, because sometimes that can get quite skewed, and helping on an individual basis people to set some paths of development, but also for people that run Agile communities or run parts of the business to have an idea of what skills or qualities should they have in their mix of people that are going into teams and going around the business performing those Agile coach roles.
Thank you. Let's start from the elements of the wheel that contributed the most to your professional growth. Are there any of these elements that actually stand out?
I really like how self-mastery is front and center in the wheel, and actually it literally is center of the wheel. It's that main hub. Without a sense of who we are and an ability to look inwardly in ourselves, we're going to do a really, really terrible job with the people that we're working with. We won't be able to build the necessary awareness in order to improve. That can be really, really hard when there's pressure maybe for you to advance your career super quick in a particular time, or you've got external pressure to do this or that. So that self-mastery has helped me build up that awareness, and having those different levels and so many of those different competencies around in the wheel has also helped me to have a little bit more comfort and ownership of the areas that maybe I don't know, but acknowledging where I do have strengths, and that is okay. So it's helped me become a better coach and a more well-rounded professional, I guess, as a result.
Thank you, Ben. And very good point about self-master. Is not in the center by chance. It's there for a reason.
No.
You also mentioned that you use the wheel with organizations or the work that you do as a third-party coach. Starting from that element of self-mastery, how do you think the wheel contributed to the Agile coaching profession as a whole? If you think that it has a role in it, to clarify what Agile coaches actually do.
I think we're really unfortunately named as Agile coaches. I get that the title came out of an age earlier this millennium, or earlier this century, where everyone's a coach, and it's from a part of the world where coaching as a thing is applied to many, many things. But it's quite unfortunate because we do a lot more than capital C professional coaching. And without more peer-reviewed clarity on what all those roles are that we do, you can find that you're in an Agile community, or you're in a particular business that have a very fixed and quite narrow view of what we do as coaches. For example, I've as a community, we've had waves where maybe we should only be professional coaches, and it's very, very bad to tell people, even if they don't know anything. If they tell you they want to know what time it is, we've got to go through a whole coaching route to get there, which is absolute nonsense. So I like that by putting that map out there of these are very, very helpful competencies that we think about, we can know more about it and we can grow. That combined with the self-mastery aspect helps us apply, well, what do we think we are at the moment? How would we know? And the steps and the grades within there are really, really useful. And then using that information to think further on into the future. I like that. That really chimes well with me, and it's how I've helped drive my own career and my own sense of who I am, what I should be doing along.
Thank you. It's interesting, isn't it? Sometimes people think that coaches, they only have the one stance. It's almost like, hey, Ben, do you know what the time is? And you answer, and you reply to me saying, what is the time according to you? What do you think the time is? Which is kind of like, some people just want to know the answer, right?
Yeah, and more seriously though, I've been in businesses where that professional coaching thing has got really, really strong in the community. And I'm saying this as a professional coach. I do capital C coaching out there separately, but in a business where that has been the main mode of working, or the only mode of working, you can find that you're going into businesses where people aren't ready to have that kind of conversation yet, and they actually want you to demonstrate a little bit of your expertise or knowledge, or help them with a bit of confidence that maybe some of the choices that they want to make with going down a more agile route is a good thing and is okay. So if you don't have those other skills, the advising, the transforming, and some of the guiding learning as well, you could find that yourself or your community within that business can be marginalized and further taken away from actually where work happens. So it is a really, really important thing to be cognizant of as you progress and grow agile coaching and mature agile coaching in your organization.
Thanks, Ben. And to the point of the wheel being ever evolving tool, it's been a few years now since its first inception. Do you think, what do you think it stands? You know, when you go into organizations, like you said, and introduce the tool, what kind of reactions do you get? Do you think we can make it better somehow?
Within agile communities, usually it's welcomed, because before the wheel, if you went into a group of agile coaches, said, well, how do we know we're getting better as agile coaches? How do we know what skills we should develop? There's a bit of a sense of, oh, well, you should know, or Google it, or this and that, which leads to many, many different perceptions. I like that the agile coaching growth wheel is peer reviewed by a very, very diverse range of coaches internationally, and that's a really, really helpful thing. So for most organizations where I've used it, it has been welcomed, because it's, oh, great, someone's gone and done that work. And given us this kind of view. Doesn't mean, you know, if you wanted to add something that's specific in your context in your organization, that's fine. But usually that's kind of welcome, provided that there's safety in the group that you're introducing it to. When you start doing some of the assessments around the wheel, I think you get the best strength and best value out of it if you can do that as a group, and you can share where you feel each other are, so that you can then look holistically at your group of agile coaches and say, well, what are we missing, and what do we want to try and grow as a group as well as individually. So that's kind of great. Outside of the agile coaches environment, often it has been very helpful when I'm speaking to maybe people in a new part of the business that I'm dealing with, or even sometimes I have used it a couple of times with clients who are maybe coming to get an agile coach in, to be able to say, well, these are the kinds of things that I can help with. These are the areas that we can collaborate on, or even in some scenarios, this is everything that an agile coach thinks about. And in my context, I can really help you with these spokes of the wheel, those parts there really well. On that area, I know a bit, but we can pull someone in, you know. So it's been helpful almost as a sense-making tool for what this new area is to some of those people, and help get communication over what we can offer each other and help each other with.
Thank you, Ben. That's a very good point. I believe when you have a team of coaches working in the same place, that can also be used, the sense checking, as you said, as a tool to understand where there are gaps in the cohort of coaches. And like you said, can we bring someone in, or do we have the budget to train ourselves and be better at this specific thing that if we find out that we're lacking? One last question for you. You know, again, think about when you go into organizations with a wheel, or you present it to colleagues, or you talk about it with peers. Are there elements of the wheel that you believe might be better, and maybe something is lacking that could be refined? What do you think?
This might be a little bit controversial to many, but if people have followed what I've said earlier about capital C coaching, it probably follows suit. I think the years of people maybe misunderstanding agile coaching, or maybe only seeing it through the lens of that one mode of professional coaching, I think some of us have lost this sense that it can be okay to tell people things. It can be okay to train now and then. It can be okay to advise or consult. And many times I've been in organizations, maybe alongside very traditional consultants, maybe from one of those big 4 or 5 global firms. And these are people that are trained very, very extensively on how to assert their own authority and how to give a really, really good sale of follow me, I'll be the person to come in. But often those people are operating from a very, very low base of knowledge about agility and a very low base of experience on that. And I think that's a real shame. And I think if more agile coaches were able to understand a little bit more about advising and some of those tools, not in a nefarious way, but being able to communicate clearly to the people that hire them, things about what they do, and also communicate some of the ideas and concepts that might help or assist in the scenarios that you discussed with those end clients or those managers or those leaders. I think that could only be a good thing. I've spent a lot of time in my career being around very, very charismatic people who are maybe misrepresenting things here or there that are really eating our lunch in some ways as coaches, and ultimately not doing the best for the organization in the medium to long term. So I think developing advising further and helping agile coaches to feel comfort with actually, in certain contexts, it is fine to knowingly take that mode, I think would be of benefit to the community and the wider client base and technology organizations together.
Thank you, Ben. You got me thinking about evangelism. Advising is not that at all, right? We have many evangelists in our profession.
Yeah, and someone said to me years ago, like, you do need evangelists. Evangelists help move some of the ideas further along or create awareness of some of those ideas, but they're not the people that you need necessarily day to day with a team or an organization. So no, it's not the same thing, but I think sometimes we're frightened by being at that end of things and missing something. But there's a scale, isn't there? There's scales in many areas, but it's a scale.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. And no, we're not adding evangelism to the wheel. Thank you very much. That's all we have for today. Thank you very much for your time today, Ben. It's been great for me. I enjoyed our time together. Thanks again for your time.
Cheers. Thank you, Michele.